Everyone loves a local roadside farm stand and going shopping for some fresh produce straight from the farm. I know I love knowing exactly where my food comes from when I buy it. These stands and markets are also great to support because the food is from local farms. It's also so important to buy locally for a multitude of reasons. Some being that local food benefits the environment, supports the local economy, and the farmers can tell you how their food was grown. Today we are at Windy Springs right here in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. We'll be hanging out with the Mood family and learning all about how they grow and harvest their crops and manage the cattle side of their business as well. This farm is extremely diverse in what they have to offer, so today we'll be doing a lot of learning. So come along with me and let's go Agventuring. Hi everyone, I'm Tess the Agriculturalist and welcome to Agventures. In this episode of Agventures, we'll be touring Windy Springs Farm to get the behind the scenes of growing and harvesting produce as well as raising beef cattle. But before we get into it, let's get an overview of Windy Springs Farm. Windy Springs Farm is currently owned and operated by the Mood family in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. They are the fourth generation in their family farm growing seasonal produce, beef, chicken, and more. They sell their products at 3 different farmers markets as well as their very own roadside stand located off of 663, which makes it a convenient stop for people traveling along the major roadway. Their 150 head beef cattle production is all natural and everything they feed their cattle is grown by their farm as well. Windy Springs believes that their cattle deserves a well-balanced diet of grass and grains such as wheat, rye, barley, soybean, and corn. Then they roast this blend so the cattle can digest their feed better. The farm also raises about 600 meat chickens a year. Windy Springs also grows a handful of different produce on the farm, including watermelon, cantaloupe, sweet corn, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, and more. The family farm also welds and repairs their own machinery right at the farm, which is also extremely important to note. Another fun fact, Madison, the oldest daughter of the Mood family, runs a social media account on Instagram and Facebook called The Farmer's Daughter. These platforms showcase what it's like on the farm from a day-to-day basis. Madison educates her followers on how their food is grown from seed to stand. The Farmer's Daughter's accounts will take you on a journey of farming through all seasons. Mood is educating while also promoting agriculture along the way. Personally, this is something that is so important to me and is even the foundation as to why Isaac and I started Agaholics. So we'll make sure to link her accounts below so you guys can follow her on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Today at the farm, we'll primarily be focusing on harvesting since it is later in the summer and planting season has come to an end. But we will still talk about the processes and steps Windy Springs takes to get all their crops planted for the season. I'm standing here today with Madison and she's going to be talking to us about planting. So Madison, what are the steps you guys take to get a field ready to be planted?
So first it takes a lot with soil maps, soil testing, so we know what the ground actually needs. So that's really our first step, whether we need to apply lime, nitrogen, your potassium, everything like that. Each product needs something different, so we need to give back to the ground. As well as we till, but it's a conservational tillage, so it's straight blade discs that just open the ground up for it to dry out in order for us to plant. We don't pull all the ground up and create a plow layer underneath. We need the water to be able to drain through the crop and have water all year long, so we just conservational tillage.
So what do you guys go off of to determine the different crops and plants that you want to grow and their specific varieties?
So we've been having a produce stand since the 60s, so we've really been learning supply and demand. What the customers want, what they don't want, what's new, the fads that are going on. So for example, we used to grow about, say, 100 head of candy onions, bulbs. Now we're up to 25,000 candy onions and bulbs because we created this demand. So it really goes with the supply chain, and then what the customers want. And also we work hand in hand with seed dealers as to what new varieties are coming in and stuff like that. So we work hand in hand with corporate and then hand in hand with our local community.
So we're standing here in front of the sweet corn picker. Can you talk a little bit about how it's beneficial for the farm?
Yeah, of course. So we now grow 80 acres of sweet corn, but 80 acres is a lot, so it's all rotational. Yeah. So the sweet corn machine actually allows us to cut the corn right off the stalk as it's growing, pick the corn itself, and then shred the rest of the stalk as organic matter all over the field, allowing us to come back through, disc it into the ground, conservationally, and then plant another rotation of sweet corn. So just about a week ago, we have an additional planting of sweet corn, and it's about like an inch tall right now. So the picker allows us to get a higher yield because we're able just to pick everything like crazy, not have so many guys out in the field trying to work, hand pick one after another. Brings it in on boatloads on a wagon, sort it wholesale, right to our farm stands, and we just have sweet corn coming out of our ears.
That's awesome. So it's not only just efficient for you guys, but also great for the environment and using everything.
Exactly, yes, just using the natural resource that already grew to put right back into the grounds and get an additional planting off of all the nutrients that we just gave right back.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Do you also want to talk about that sound everyone just heard?
Yes, for sure, yes. So living in Pennsylvania, and I'm sure everywhere else, when you grow sweet corn, you have tons of either bird damage, coon damage, groundhog, anything like that. So instead of going out there, taking care of them, you put a machine out there that shoots like big gases of air right through the sounds, and that's what you heard, and then all the birds go flying away and all the raccoons go away too, and then less damage in your cornfields.
We learned from Madison how the planting process works here at Windy Springs. It's interesting to learn how the process varies amongst different crops. Anyways, now everything is planted, so it's important to learn how these crops grow and are maintained to get those beautiful fresh fruits and vegetables that we see on the farm stands. So as we all know, plants need water, sunlight, and nutrients to grow to their maximum potential. But that's easier said than done. So let's talk to Madison about how Windy Springs gives their crops the proper growing conditions to reach their desired state before harvesting stage.
So with living in Pennsylvania, you are not guaranteed a beautiful rainfall every single night or every so many days for growing crops. So with corn and having that out by the acreage, you can't just lay down drip tape or your watering can and water your crops. Yeah. So we invested in a big reel. So this is going to overhead broadcast your water. So it's essentially a sprinkler that you'd put in your front yard, but on steroids. So it could just cover acres and acres of sweet corn. So this is hooked up to some of our man-made ponds that we had put in, wells, and we also are lucky enough to have natural spring water on the farm as well. Yeah. So we hook up to this, and that just goes for 8-hour, 12-hour time periods and just coats the ground for us. That's awesome. While we're working on other things. Now for our black plastic rows where we grow the majority of our other fruits and vegetables, that is drip tape irrigation. So underneath the black plastic are rows of irrigation tubes that go through watering and fertilizing. You can put anything down through those tubes to give to your plants all year round, or all season long rather. Water is very, very hard to come by, and to just keep giving and giving on 90, 100-degree days. So it's something that we have to work hand in hand with, is farming and water. So
I'm sure this is really helpful with dry spells that we have.
For sure, exactly. So. Yes, you're guaranteed no rain as a farmer. You're working hand in hand with the weather that does not communicate to you.
You can't
so
do a rain dance.
No rain dances. You can pray as much as you want, but it comes when it comes. So.
Right. Do you guys apply any nutrients or fertilizers to your crops?
Yes, so we do apply synthetic fertilizers, and we supply our ground with natural fertilizers as well. So with synthetic fertilizers, you have to consider the environment. You have to consider the world around you and all the ecosystems that make up this world. So here on Windy Springs, we kind of are on a downward slant from the top of the farm all the way down to the bottom of the farm.
Right.
So we need to consider runoff and leaching. So we've built water swales. So there's water swales that separate each acreage here on the farm. So if we apply nitrogen and all of a sudden, you know, things are happening, it will leach right into that barrier that we created.
Awesome.
So we don't have any runoff into natural waterways. We keep the cows out of the natural waterways.
Right.
And we want ecosystems to survive. We don't want a boom and bust.
Right.
So we keep taking care of the environment and taking care of the ground. Now with the cattle, that's our natural fertilizer. That's manure, that's poop. So once we're done harvesting on a set of acreage, we'll put the cattle, rotate them over here. They'll eat the last little bits of what's left, say from the sweet corn that we had there. They'll eat the last little bits or find more corn and eat that as well. And then as they're eating, they're spreading natural fertilizer there for us. So we'll just go through with there's these long chains that we drag behind a four-wheeler, and then, you know, it throws all the fertilizer everywhere, so it's not just in big piles in the field.
Yeah.
So we have synthetic, yes, that is taken care of, and then we have natural, that is also taken care of as well. So we're just constantly giving back to the soil because the soil is just constantly giving to us.
Yeah. So these are the drip tubes, right?
Yes, so right here is your header tube. So this will run down the whole length of our vegetable patch, holding all of the water in here. It like blows up to this big tube here. That is all controlled by one of the wells we have on the farm. So it's basically like a flip of a switch, and then all water gets thrown in here, and then right here it's turned on, and then it will just run down. We have one black drip tape that goes throughout the whole entire row here for this cantaloupe. Depending on what it is you need several black drip tapes to go through it. For like example, when we're growing candy onions, they need several black drip tapes down them because candy onions can't grow unless they're almost to the point of flooding every time they need water.
Oh my gosh.
They just need mounds and mounds of water, and that's something we learned over growing from 100 to 2,500 you know, candy onions. So that's something we've learned, is that they need a lot of water. We also are able to send some synthetic fertilizers down the tubes also when we need them, or we can just directly hit this one tube and just send fertilizer just down this one cantaloupe row. Exactly.
Cool.
So we have really a lot of area to play with when we're feeding and fertilizing as well.
And just be mindful. That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Look at the flowers, everything's flowering.
Yeah.
So that's what that means, that there's going to be another fruit.
Yeah, this is where the cantaloupes will come off. The bees, we have about 50 beehives on the farm, because without bees you get no pollination, no fruit. So they'll pollinate here and they'll keep breeding, the male flowers, female flowers, and then that creates your cantaloupe. The cantaloupes start green when they're not ripe, and then they turn tan when they are ripe, and that's how we know when to pick them. All about the color.
So as you can tell, growing is a really crucial step on the farm. Without taking these steps, fertilizing and watering, these crops would struggle to grow and wouldn't be full of size, full of nutrients, and as flavorful as they can be. This is my favorite part. I am so excited to harvest the final product of all the hard work the farm has put into their crops. As we said earlier, we are currently in mid to late summer, so it's harvesting season now. All the crops have grown and produced their fruits and vegetables, so it's time to harvest and get our hands dirty. So Madison, what does the harvesting process look like here, and does it vary per crop?
Yes, so harvesting time is very time consuming. We come into the produce patch on this side of the road and over there every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, minimally.
Yeah.
So we'll start at 6 in the morning and work until we're done picking everything. So as you can see here, we have row after row after row of tomatoes that really are just back-breaking labor. You take your bucket and you walk through the row, you pick the red ones, orange ones, pink ones, everything that has color we pick when it comes to tomatoes, because if you let it out there too long, it rots and then you lose your yield. So we pick and pick and pick until there's no more tomatoes. And then with some of the other produce, like your zucchini patch, that is something you have to pick every other day. You let a zucchini on there too long, then it turns into this big, massive boat, and then you have a hard time selling it. So you have to be consistent with your patch and always pick so that you're picking stuff that people are gonna actually want to buy and are ready to buy as well. Something like our green bean patch, that actually is picked by machine. So that is something that we pick every day because within a matter of instant, your green beans are either way too big or too small and then you lost them. So you have to be in the green bean patch every single day, basically, taking the machine through there, picking them all off. Same exact idea and concept of the sweet corn machine, where it basically just shreds the rest of it as organic matter into the field, and then you can do another crop rotation on top of it. So it's very time consuming, all picking in the patch is, and it is backbreaking labor, but you have to love it to do it. So, and we love it. So.
Yeah, you need to do it so that everything grows back too.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly. So as you're picking, you're allowing for that nutrients to stop trying to grow this tomato and grow another one. So, and that's what comes with suckering your tomatoes too, like pulling those little branches off so that all the nutrients just keeps growing to that main crop and keeps going for these tomatoes. So these are our yellow tomatoes. All tomatoes start out nice and green first. Sometimes we pick them green because people love fried tomatoes, so we'll pick them green too. And then down here is when they, turn yellow. So you basically literally just rip them off. Sometimes the tops come with them too, like the little sprouts. Just like that. We actually rip that off because when you put it in a bucket, that will actually stab the next guy below it and then ruin the tomato. So we just take extra time, rip it off, and put them in buckets, and we take them to the washroom, wash them up. Tomatoes actually don't like any water on them when we wash them. They actually turn moldy real quick. Oh, wow. So we just have to run them through the brushes and get any, dirt or excess of, anything out here off of them. We actually have all these tomatoes strung up, preventing any tomato to be laying on the ground, surface rot, water sitting on them. So you have a higher yield potential because everything's risen. So tomatoes are literally just hanging there, hanging there like a tree. But yeah, I guess we'll take this one home and have fried tomatoes later. So these are Roma tomatoes, plum tomatoes. We have a hard time with them sometimes, having rot on the bottom of them because we're just not out here as much as maybe we should be picking. We like to pick the tomatoes when they're this color, when they're pink, because we're able to set them in a box in our cooler station and then have them turn red for us. So we're not waiting for them to, quick, get out there before your tomatoes are turning. We're able to have them in a controlled environment and able to have them turn red on our time, not, red and then they're done out here. So.
And once they're picked, don't they release like a ripening hormone?
Exactly. So if we do pick some green, we'll wait a long time for them to turn color, but when they're pink like this, it doesn't take much to have them then turn red or turn yellow fully, so. So you basically go in, some people think you just rip the zucchini off the plant itself. You cut the top actually, and then you have the zucchini. Sometimes the flower, like that, the flower is still gonna be on the bottom of them. Sometimes we just wipe them off like that. And then we put the zucchini in the bucket and then take it to the washroom and wash all the zucchini after we're done picking.
I didn't realize you had to slice it like that.
Yeah, you have to cut it off. And once you cut it off, that allows for more to keep growing. See, all of these little guys here are more flowers of zucchini that are coming.
Wow, yeah, this is definitely new growth.
Yep, exactly.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so you just keep picking and picking all the way down the end of the row. And if you don't have your pocket knife on you, you're not prepared for work. All right, so now we're gonna pick some eggplant. And just like picking the zucchini, you have to physically cut it instead of pulling it. With eggplant, you can't just pull, you have to use the clippers. So you find the eggplant you want, and it's basically the way you know what to pick is what the customers want. Is a customer going to be able to use this tiny eggplant for anything? Most likely, probably not. So we want to pick them bigger. The bigger, the better. We were just through the patch itself, so mostly all the big ones already were picked, but this is ideal customer size. So we pick to satisfy, honestly, is what it takes. So you basically just go through and clip as much as you can or as many as you can, and you have eggplant. You have your eggplant parm or eggplant whatever dish you want. Yeah, they're absolutely delicious, and I really enjoy picking them. They're pretty easy to pick as well. All right, so here is the pepper patch. Peppers don't take much to pick them. You basically manhandle the bush, you really get in there, you find a pepper. We pick, again, bigger the better. So customers gonna want a bigger pepper rather than a smaller one.
Like this?
Yeah, exactly. So these are ideal sizes. Anything smaller, that's not a problem. If you pick them, we just sell them in a different way. We sell them as like maybe a salsa kit or something in order for a customer to want it, because not everybody wants a small pepper, but they're delicious. There's no taste difference.
Okay, Madison, so what is your favorite fruit or vegetable here on the farm?
It's really hard to decide and pick and choose what is my absolute favorite, because when you grow up picking and harvesting everything you eat, you don't really have a favorite. But I really enjoy yellow watermelon. So that's actually a new variety, completely different seed than your regular red watermelon. And it's absolutely delicious. It has its own type of sweetness, own type of texture. It's just super good, and ice cold, it makes it even better. But I also really enjoy being able to pick in the patch and just eat tomatoes like apples. So that's super nice to be able to do. And zucchinis are my absolute favorite. I eat them raw, I eat them sauteed, whatever you want. They're really great.
So all of them.
Yes, you can't pick and choose when you're a farmer.
It takes a lot of hard work to harvest the crops here at Windy Springs. As you can tell, a lot is hand-picked, which takes a lot of time and energy to harvest the crops correctly. We can tell from the planting, growing, and harvesting process that it takes a lot of time until the farmers and community can enjoy the fruits of their labor, literally. So it's so important that the whole process is carefully executed from planting to harvesting. Now we're going to talk a little bit about cattle production here at Windy Springs. We mentioned earlier that the farm has about 150 head beef cattle production where they feed the cows all natural feed straight from the farm itself. Let's talk to Madison about how Windy Springs run the beef side of their business. So Madison, can you talk a little bit about what's in the blend that you feed the cows?
Yeah, for sure. So to start, we believe in feeding our animals a balanced diet, healthy balanced diet from start to finish. No finish on grain, start on grass, none of that. They need to eat both their whole entire life. Just like us humans, you can't survive off of just, say, lettuce your whole life. You need a balanced diet of fruits, vegetables, your meat, everything like that, all your nutrients. Same with cattle. So we believe in starting them both grass and grain. Then the summer times they get put on pasture to eat as much grass as they possibly want. And they also have the option of coming in and eating some grain as well. And then the winter time is when obviously we give them the hay bales that we harvested now, and then they eat their grass, preserved grass over the winter time. So they're always getting grass. But the blend is actually something that we grow on our farm ourselves. Nothing's shipped in, nothing's brought in. It's all raised here. We have about 1,500 acres of cereal grains, so that's your wheat, rye, barley, oats, corn, and soy. So everything is harvested by us. We bring it in and then we slow roast it. So that's the key to feeding cattle, is slow roasting the grain itself, so they actually can digest the corn and the soy and the wheat, rye, barley, oats. Just like us, we can't just eat sweet corn and think it's not going to come out later. It will, because it's not, the enzymes aren't broken down. So, we make it easier for them to digest and available that they can. And then that's what reflects in the select cuts that we sell at our farm stands and farm markets. It's a beautiful texture, beautiful marble. It's not gamey. And then that is really reflected on how we feed and take care of our animals, putting them on pasture, giving them things that we grow and we touch ourselves. And that's what really is the key to running a successful herd of cattle business, is being involved in your cattle and taking pride in what you do with your animals.
Look at them.
Yeah, they play with each other. They love being under the trees, especially because it's super hot out. They do have barns and fresh water to go to whenever they want, but they always stick in a herd. So any of the seconds produce that we have that's damaged, bruised, or not as nice to sell, or that we can't then sell at the road stand, we bring home and feed our cattle. So anything we grow, the cows get to eat. So right here I have some seconds produce, and they're gonna go pretty crazy. This is my sister's mom cow. She's very, very friendly. She actually lets my sister ride her and lay on her. If my sister was here, she'd probably get on, but her mom cow.
So what kinds of cuts does the farm provide for the consumer?
So we do freezer meat, so that's your quarter, half, or whole cow. That's something we promote to share with your family or just to get meat in the freezer because it's very cost efficient buying either a quarter, half, or whole of a steer, and then you can customize the cuts that you want. So you can get X amount of ground beef, patties, steaks, anything like that, sausage, hot dogs, beef dogs. And then we also do select cuts, USDA inspected, frozen, vacuum seal packages that we put on display at our farmers markets and at our farm stand on 663. And that's anywhere from, again, your burgers, ground beef, your New York strips, Delmonico's, fillets, all those popular cuts we offer. So, and then we also do wholesaling to restaurants as well. So you can go to the Proper Brewery in Quakertown and get, you know, a Philly cheesesteak that's directly from our farm, our beef, and then their specialty steaks that they have on the menu as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and right now they have sweet corn as well of ours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we're going for lunch. So.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome to learn about how Windy Springs has perfected their cattle feed to a unique blend that stands out in their products. It takes a lot of work from their workers to create this balanced diet for the cattle, but it's worth it for that remarkable lean to fat ratio and flavor. This is exactly why eating locally grown food and meat is fresher and cleaner to consume.
Now I really want to talk about the Farmer's Daughter platform that is run by Madison Mood. She is a daughter of one of the owners here at Windy Springs Farm. Her videos, photos, posts can be found on Instagram, Facebook, and even TikTok. Here she educates her followers on everything she does on the farm. She showcases what life is like for a farmer, from staking tomatoes, hanging out with the cows, and mowing hay. Okay, Madison, so why did you want to start the Farmer's Daughters account?
So last October I was working the road stand and somebody came up and was furiated with the price of pumpkins. And I was just thinking to myself, like, holy cow, like, yeah, that's $6.50 for a decent sized Carver pumpkin, but do you know what it took to buy the seed, plant the crop?
Right.
Now, like, pumpkins should have been planted like right away, like, you know, last month. So that's a long time to have crops in your field, waiting all the way till, you know, end of August, September, October to pick. So that's a long time product sitting in there. So then that's all the fertilizer that gets put into it, the farmer's energy and money to pay for gas to run irrigation pumps. So it's so much money and so much time that the farmer dedicates to product to get nickels and dimes for the things that the customer is buying. So then that opened my eyes as to people need to be informed as to what the heck goes on here on base and what it takes to make a product. And nobody knows. And it's really unfortunate that we still have people out there today that think that, you know, time to go to the grocery store, that's where we get our food.
Right.
I mean, I understand that I go there to buy, you know, my cereal sometimes, but that's about it. Yeah. Whatever I don't have in the patches kind of, you know, do I really need to go to the grocery store? No, you know, I have it.
Right.
But it's unfortunate that people still don't know where their food comes from.
Yeah, I agree with you. There needs to be more literacy around it.
Yes.
But it's awesome. What is your favorite part about running the different accounts?
I really enjoy just creating the videos and pictures of me running heavy machinery, because that's something that is like, that's a man's job and a man can only do that type of aspect when it comes to the agriculture field. It's you know, male dominated area, and I totally understand that, but we're here to, you know, break records and set people straight, and women can do it all as well. And I am super grateful that I learned how to drive the equipment and can actually be in the field. Like, this machine is 275 horsepower and I live in it 24/7. Early spring when I'm opening up fields for my dad and uncle to come and plant. So I really enjoy running the machinery, all heavy machinery, and I physically love just being in the patch and showing people we pick everything. We do it all of ourselves, and it's not just something that's always bought in or shipped in. We're there physically doing the labor and bearing the fruits that we sell at our local stands. So.
Yeah. And it's amazing you're supporting women in ag.
Yes,
it's
yes,
very
of course.
Inspiring for people to, you know, get involved in
Definitely.
agriculture and know where their food comes
Exactly,
from. So.
yeah, because I mean, we have tons of young men and women that come here to the farm to work and stuff, and just the light in their eyes that is shown when they're actually physically picking a tomato or a zucchini. It's like, wow, that's what it takes to get that. Yeah, you just learn so much physically being on the farm and living the lifestyle and learning the lifestyle.
Right, it gives you better appreciation.
Exactly, appreciation for everything, honestly. Okay, so now we're in my tractor. His name's Raymond. I name all the tractors on the farm. Just beeps at me at first to put it back in park. So we're gonna put it in reverse. We're gonna put our wings back up behind us there in the piece of equipment so it can fit in the barn. We park all of our equipment because why let things sit out and rust and depreciate when we can just protect everything? So, gotta fold the arms up, and then you have to learn how to be a good backer-upper when you drive machines.
God. I literally couldn't barely back up my Honda Civic.
Yeah, it's like working with a trailer, but it's pretty nice, it's pretty easy. But if I did not know how to back the equipment up, I'd be in some trouble.
This is such a large machine.
Oh, it's ginormous, yeah. My disc blade on the back is about like 28 feet across, and I'm pretty wide because of both duals on the front and the back. But
oh my God.
Yes.
Whoa.
It's a bumpy ride too because of the tires being so big, and they literally only have like 10 PSI in them.
Right.
There's not much to it. Yep, and then into the barn we go.
Wow. Okay, we made it in. Kind of?
Yes, yeah.
Am I distracting you?
Nope, you're good. I'm done. And that's
Wow.
it.
Nice job, team.
Thank you.
We had a great day. We definitely learned a lot about all kinds of farming. It's amazing to experience firsthand how hard farmers work like the Mood family, especially one that grows all kinds of crops and manages cattle. Anyways, a huge thank you to Windy Springs Farm for allowing us to record, edit, and post this video to YouTube. And also a huge thank you to everyone here for being willing to be interviewed and always striving to provide awareness and support for farming. I know I learned a lot today. Also, thank you to everyone for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a big thumbs up. And if you enjoy this type of content on this channel, please feel free to subscribe to Agaholics and ring the bell for notifications on when new videos are posted to the channel. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to go outside today.
That one's nice.
No, I'm just double fisting.
Difference. Sometimes the whole plant comes off, no problem. Just put it back in the ground.